Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to go ahead with the next part of our next problem on weighted average cost of capital. In this problem, we are going to find out the weighted average cost of capital using two different methods. One method is what we have already studied in the previous video. The next method we'll be studying in this video. Okay. So I'm going to solve the same problem using two different methods. Whichever you feel easy, follow that method. But in some cases, but in some specific problems, so only one method can be utilized. So I'll tell you when do we utilize which method. Otherwise, you can use any method of your choice. So let's go ahead with the problem. A company has a capital structure where the capital structure is equity shares, rupees 100 each, that is the share price is 100 rupees and the total capital is 10 lakhs. Then 14% preference shares of 5 lakhs and 10% debentures of 5 lakhs. So this is the capital structure that this company has. That is 10 lakhs of equity, 5 lakhs of preference and 5 lakh of debentures. Totally it has a capital of 20 lakhs. I'm sorry, it should be 20 lakhs. By mistake it has come as 10 lakhs. So it should be 20 lakhs. Okay. Then expected dividend on equity shares rupees 10, which grows at 10% per annum. Okay, that means they have given the share capital and they have also given the cost here, plus an additional information is given, that is cost of, to find out cost of equity. Okay, if you remember, how do we calculate weighted average cost of capital? We need serial number, sources of capital, amount of capital. Now these three things are already available, but do we know the specific cost? No, right now we do not know the specific cost. So for that, this additional information is given. So let's read the additional information. Expected dividend on equity shares is 10 rupees, which grows at 10% per annum. Tax rate is 40%. Calculate WACC. So how do we calculate WACC? Again, we have a typical table that we have already studied in the previous video. That is serial number, sources of capital, amount of capital, specific cost and total cost. So first of all, how many sources are there? There are three sources. So 1, 2 and 3. Which are those sources? First one is equity shares, second one is preference, 14% preference, and third one is 10% debentures. Then we have the amount of capital that is also given to us. It's 10 lakh of equity, 5 lakh of preference shares and 5 lakh of debentures, right? So totally it is 20 lakhs. Okay, so this should be 20. I have already corrected that mistake there. Okay, so total amount of capital is 20 lakhs. Then coming to the next column. Next column talks about specific cost. Now how do we calculate specific cost? We have already studied that. So let's go to the first one, cost of equity, because equity shares means cost of equity. So how do we calculate cost of equity? I hope you remember there are four approaches, that is dividend approach, dividend plus growth approach, earnings approach and the CAPM approach. In this case, which approach are we going to use? For that, we have to read the additional information. What they have given? They have given expected dividend on equity shares. So expected dividend is given. So it is related to dividend approach. So it can be either dividend or dividend plus growth approach. So let us read further. Expected dividend on equity shares is 10 rupees, which grows at 10%. So this growth is given over here. So which approach do we use? We use dividend plus growth approach. So what is the formula for dividend plus growth approach? It is D divided by NP or MP plus G. So what is D? D is the amount of dividend, that is 10 rupees given to us. NP is the price per share, so which is also given 10 rupees per share, plus growth rate. Now growth rate is 10% per annum, so 0.10. So if you simplify this particular equation, you get the cost of equity as 0.20 or 20%. So our cost of equity is done, 0.20. Coming to preference, so we have to find out KP. So cost of preference is D divided by NP, because redeemable, irredeemable, there is no question at all because maturity is not given. That means we consider it as irredeemable preference shares. So the formula is D divided by NP. Now how do we calculate D? 14% is the rate of dividend, 14% on 5 lakh. So 14% on 5 lakh is 7 lakhs. Yes. So 7 lakhs divided by net proceedings. Now net, how much we are going to collect from preference? We are going to collect, or we have collected 5 lakhs. Okay, so 7 lakh divided by 5 lakh gives you 0.14 or 14%. So cost of preference is done, 0.14. Coming to the last one, that is debentures. So debentures means we have to find out KD. So what KD in that? Should we use redeemable, irredeemable, par, premium, discount? First of all, no maturity is given, so it is irredeemable. Over that, they have not given premium and discount, that means it is at par. So irredeemable debentures at par, there is a simple formula, that is R into 1 minus T. What is R? R is the rate of dividend which is given over here, that is 10%, that means 0.10 into 1 minus the tax, T is tax, so 0.40 or 40% or 0.40. So 1 minus 0.40 is 0.6. 0.6 into 0.10 gives you 0.06. So your cost of debt is 0.06. I hope you're clear with all the specific costs. So your specific cost of equity is 0.20, cost of preference is 0.14, and cost of debt is 0.06. So we have got all the specific costs, that is 20%, 14% and 6%. Now we have to calculate the total cost. How do we calculate the total cost? To calculate total cost, we have to multiply the amount of capital with the specific cost. So amount of capital is 10 lakhs. For equity, it is 10 lakhs into 0.2, that is 2 lakh. 5 lakh into 0.14, that is 7 lakhs, 70,000, sorry. 5 lakh into 0.14 is 70,000, and 5 lakh into 0.06 is 30,000. So once we get the total cost, the next step is to find out the summation of the total cost. So summation of total cost is 3 lakh, that is 2 lakh plus 70 is 2 lakh 70 plus 30 is 3 lakhs, and the total amount of capital is 20 lakhs. So how do we calculate the weighted average cost of capital? We already know it is total cost divided by total amount of capital. So 3 lakh divided by 20 lakhs, 3 lakh divided by 20 lakhs is 0.15 or 15%. So your WACC or weighted average cost of capital is 15% or 0.15. Okay, so I hope you're clear with calculation of WACC. Okay, so again I'll repeat, WACC is nothing but total cost divided by total amount of capital. Once you do this, you'll get the WACC. So this is one method of doing this which we have followed in the previous problem also. So let's move on to the next type of solution or another method to solve the same problem. Okay, so what's the another method? Let's see. Okay, here if you just everything remains the same. Okay, so we have serial number, we have the source of capital, we have the amount of capital. So I hope you remember there are three sources: equity, preference and debentures, and the amount, respective amounts is 10 lakh, 5 lakh and 5 lakh. So total amount is 20 lakhs. Here an extra column is added. What is that extra column? That is the percentage of capital or proportion of capital. Now what is this proportion of capital? Please pay attention. It is the proportion of specific capital in the total capital. Okay, so it is nothing but the proportion of 10 lakh divided by 20 lakhs, which is 0.5, 5 lakh divided by 20 lakhs, which is 0.25, and 5 lakhs divided by 20 lakhs, which is 0.25. So we calculate the proportion of each source in the total capital. So I hope you're clear with the calculation. I'll repeat it again. This 10 lakhs divided by 20 lakhs, that is 10 lakh equity divided by total capital. 10 lakh divided by 20 lakhs is 0.5. 5 lakh divided by 20 lakhs is 0.25. Again 5 lakh divided by 20 lakhs is 0.25. So this is how we calculate the proportion of capital. Then specific cost, we have already known how to calculate the specific cost in the previous slide. We have already seen how did we calculate the KE, KD and KP and KE. So the same thing applies to this. So take the specific cost and then multiply the proportion of capital or percentage of capital with the specific cost to get the WACC directly. So the specific cost, sorry, proportion of capital is 0.5 into 0.02 is 0.10. Then 0.25 into 0.14 is 0.035. and 0.25 into 0.06 is 0.015. Then you take the total of this, so summation of WACC would be 0.15 or 14%. So 14% becomes your WACC. That's it. Okay, so this is another method to calculate the weighted average cost of capital by using the proportion of capital directly. So here you need not use the formula of WACC. Directly you have to multiply the proportion with the specific cost and get the answer, and then add all these weighted average costs of capital to get the final overall weighted average cost of capital of the firm, that is 15%. I hope you're clear with this calculation of WACC by both the methods. Now whichever you find easy, follow that method, but always try to understand or try to remember both the methods, because as I have already said in the beginning of the video, sometimes we may have to use only this method. We cannot use the other method because sometimes in the problem they will give you only the proportion of capital and the specific cost. So in that case you cannot use the previous method, you have to use this method. So only proportion is given, specific cost is given, just multiply and add all them, get the answer, that's it. Okay, so always remember this method also as well as the previous one. I hope you're clear with the calculation of WACC. In the next video we're going to go with some advanced problems in WACC. For now, thank you.